As soon as they looked at you, you handed me the gallon and you said, I'll meet you at the car. And I was like, can you hold on? And you literally walked out way before me. I was like, this is what? Yes, you did. That's what I remember.
The admin people looking. And
you definitely did not support me in my gallon.
I was probably walking a few steps ahead of you.
Steps? You were in the car already when you handed me my gallon.
Welcome to another episode of Do the Work Podcast. I'm your host, Araujo.
And this is Carla Araujo, part 2.
Part 2? What do you mean part 2?
Part 2. Some technical difficulties here.
Technical difficulties always get us. You know, here's the thing that we do. We actually record our podcast live onto our Facebook page, and that gives us. You'll be able to see the true nature of who we are. There's no editing.
No hidden.
No hidden agenda here. It's just all us, 100%. But we have a very interesting topic today. I think most couples just don't want to discuss or don't even think about it. But yet, when they lose that sense of attraction to the other person, they're like,
dang, maybe I shouldn't have done that in front of them.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
In front of them.
maybe they shouldn't have done that in front of me. So
if I can take that moment back, but it's too late.
It's too late. So we're going to talk about the 3 things not to do. Not to do. Now, what makes us experts in this field? Well, we've been together 20 years, going on 16 years of marriage. We can say we're happily married right now. Has it always been that way? No. Like, you know, on the last podcast, you said that you genuinely hated me.
And hate's a harsh word, right?
You said that with so much passion.
I was so angry. Yeah, I know.
She said she genuinely hated me. So it's not always like this. And then I also said that I felt sorry for her for not trying to leave her. That's kind of bad, too. Like, when you feel sorry for somebody and you stay in a relationship because of that.
It felt good. It felt good discussing that, though.
It did.
Putting it out there, huh?
So has it been 15 years of happy marriage? No. It's and that's happy right now.
That's what makes it so great. You know, even though we see those relationships out there, the most happiest are probably the ones that have gone through a lot.
But here's the thing. There's 3 things that we never cross the line at.
Right, but let's go.
Regardless of how ugly it got, Carla, there's 3 things that we did.
Let's go back to how this conversation actually happened, though, in the moment that you rolled me into the hospital. And then we brought up.
Well, that's not number 3 yet.
No. But this is how we ended up with the 3 things we shouldn't do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We were talking about this. How did we come up with a subject with 3 things you shouldn't do? Because that incident, and I'm like, why would that doctor say that?
Okay.
To him, it was the norm, and to me, I'm like, I don't discuss that to my husband. And then we were like, hey, you know what? These are 3 things we realize we do not do in our marriage.
So this was a couple years ago.
And they're more common than not. I guess people do it in front of each other, but this is what we didn't do. So this is what we don't do.
So this happened a couple of years ago. Maybe a few years now. And we never really discussed it, and but you'll get the gist of what we're talking about here, okay?
Go ahead. Say. I'm not embarrassed at this moment.
Carla is grimacing in pain. All right, she's moaning.
Well. Let me go. We go out to eat, and we have a beautiful dinner. It's a romantic, little nice dinner.
Okay, I don't remember that part, but
we went out to the steak restaurant.
Okay,
that's how it all ended up. It was a steak restaurant, and everything was supposed to go good until my little incident.
Okay, so next thing you know, later on at night. Middle of the night, she's grimacing in pain. She's hooting and hollering. She's like crying up a storm. You know,
I just want to tell you. Let's not.
Here's the thing. I thought,
in all seriousness, I was in a lot of pain.
You were in a lot of pain.
So don't make it seem like I was like this big crybaby, because it was painful.
Okay, so she was in a lot of pain, and at that time, we weren't certain if you were pregnant or not. So there was a big concern. There was a big alarm that went off in our minds. We're like, we got to get you to the emergency.
Or we thought maybe something busted in my my, what was it called? We thought something had busted, something drastic. We thought the worst of things.
Well, yeah, the way you were hurting.
Because I was in a lot of pain. So I know you found it funny, but I know at the moment you didn't after you found out, but it's very painful.
So we go to the emergency room. Okay, and
well, first it's like a dramatic exit from our house to get into the car, because I'm still holding on to my stomach for dear life.
Yeah, like I almost had to carry her into the car.
And then you're going like 100 miles an hour, hoping somebody was going to follow us, like a policeman, so you can go faster.
I'm like I drove like there was nobody else on the road, so I'm driving her down there. I'm like panicking. She's in pain. And I don't know, maybe an appendix burst. We have no idea.
That's what I couldn't think of that.
Appendix,
that's what we thought.
Yes, maybe possible pregnancy, maybe miscarriage, maybe this, that, or the other. We were genuinely scared.
Yeah, we were scared.
And your hooting, hollering of the pain really.
I mean, I don't like that you say that because it really was pain. You're making it seem like it wasn't pain. And when we reveal what was going on here, I hope those who've gone through it understand my pain because it's very painful.
Okay,
but go ahead.
So we go to the emergency room. And we check in, and the admin people or whatever, they're taking their sweet time, and I'm getting irritated. Like we had to wait in the emergency waiting floor, whatever that is, the room, and nobody's calling our name. 15 minutes go by, 20 minutes, and I'm like agitated. You're still moaning, you're still hurting, and I'm there's this big urgency to like have a doctor look at you. So I'm pissed off now. I've made a fool of myself with the admin people, right?
Because my wife, you trying to get me in there. That's sweet.
That's
sweet.
I'm coming in heavy on these women, poor women.
Right? At least you get somebody to bring out a wheelchair for me.
So soon enough here they come. They bring out a wheelchair and they take you to the back real quick and they start asking you some questions and then they do I don't know, was it an X-ray?
It was an X-ray. They took me in. They get all my information. And then a doctor comes in and they ask you, which I had no idea. This was new to me. You have to leave the room. So the doctor's asking me, do you hit me? Do you abuse me? All these questions.
Probably
and I'm like,
because of the way I reacted in the
and then also because I was holding on to my stomach really. So everything seemed, and apparently that's protocol.
I didn't know that part.
That's protocol. Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
Apparently that's norm in some hospitals.
That's nay on all of them.
So then you come back in the room and he's looking at you and he's totally military style. I mean, haircut. He was in the military actually.
It turns out he used to be a Marine. So
right.
This doctor was a Marine.
So he had in his words, there was so...
he was straightforward. There was no sugarcoating anything. He was just like straight to the point.
So he opens up the door and he's like, you can come in now. So then you go and sit down. He's like telling everybody else, give me morphine or whatever they had to give me for the painkillers.
I don't know if it was morphine.
I don't know what it was.
Advil or something. What are you talking about morphine?
It was not Advil. It was powerful. They put it into my arm, AZ. It was pain.
Insulin.
No, it was not. It was painkiller.
It was not morphine.
Yes, it was. It was something. It was something. But it definitely wasn't a take this Tylenol situation. See how funny? That's not even funny. I was in a lot of pain.
You're still exaggerating.
No, I'm not. I will go back to my records. They gave me painkillers. So anyway, then they roll me out to take x-rays. So he takes me out and they do all these x-rays on my...
I'm holding her hand as we take her back there.
Yeah. And then they're like, sir, you can't go back there. So then they're taking all these x-rays and they bring me in and then they're waiting for and I remember this being all drugged up because I was like in a zone. I didn't know what was going on. So then he comes back in, I don't know, 3 hours later and you're sitting across the room and we're like thinking the worst because we still don't know what's going on. Yeah, for hours later, you're going to be okay. So then, hold on. He's so supportive. And if you're watching this or if you're listening to some podcast, he literally is holding my hand in such like a sweet way with both hands, just like this, and right side by my bed. And this was like for 3-4 hours straight. Like, man, I hope you're okay. So here comes a military doctor. No bullshit. Just real straight up. Comes in.
He puts
the x-ray
up.
Yeah, with the light on. And then he looks over at AZ.
And he goes. And then he looks at you straight up and he says, you're full of shit.
And then I'm like, wait.
And I'm thinking to myself, I knew she was exaggerating.
No, hold on. No. And I'm thinking, no, wait, I'm not. I'm really in pain. Because I thought that he thought that you're full of shit, that you hit me or something. I'm like, no, I'm really in pain. And then he's like, you're full of shit. I'm like, no, I'm really in pain. Like, I don't understand what I'm full of shit.
And I'm looking at Carla now skeptical, right? I already pulled my hand away from you saying, you were like exaggerating the whole time. Now I'm like thinking about the bill that we're about to get.
So then he looks back to the x-ray.
And he goes, no, really?
You're literally full of shit. So we have constipation here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so embarrassed right now. So AZ's chair just kind of rolls away from me to the other side of the room. And I'm like looking at him like, where's the support, bro? Like I'm in pain. And then he's like, and the doctor even said this, I actually have grown ass men that come in here in constipation and a lot of pain. So in this situation, she literally is full of pain. I mean, you're backed up. So then he starts telling me this huge football field and testing and this whole story. I'm like, I don't need to hear all that. And then I look at him and he walks away.
We're both kind of awkward.
Because we don't talk about this kind of stuff.
We don't.
Right.
Like I'm here to believe like I have a unicorn. You don't do the things that most humans do.
So
like you don't go to the bathroom.
Here comes this guy and he's like he's showing my insides on an x-ray.
Yeah.
And you're literally looking at it.
Yeah, and you're full of it.
And then so you're looking at me and I'm looking at you. And so when he leaves, it was like the awkward
silence.
And we've been together for years, and it has been the most awkward moment like of my life, and everything was just quiet.
Yeah,
just quiet.
Everything was crazy. Here's the real shame in all of this. Here's the real shame.
Oh gosh, this is the worst part.
So the doctor comes in with a big old bucket, big old like.
It's like a gallon, a little bigger than a gallon. It's a little bigger gallon
with some type of like medication in it, right? You're supposed to fill it up with water and drink it, and that should kind of cure your ills. So the shame of it all was we had to walk out with this big bucket.
And you had to walk out in front of with all the nurses.
With the admins that I just yelled at. A half hour later, as they're looking at what I'm holding for you and realizing what you came into the emergency room for.
So hold on. This is what I thought was really mean in your impatientness. Your expectations of me thinking I don't do that as a human is really high, right? Because you looked at, as soon as they looked at you, you handed me the gallon and you said, I'll meet you at the car. And I was like, can you hold on? And you literally walked out way before me. I was like, this is what? Yes, you did. That's what I remember.
The admin people looking. And
you definitely did not support me in my gallon.
I was probably walking a few steps ahead of you.
You were in the car already when you handed me my gallon.
Anyway.
It was a little embarrassing. So, but for the next couple of days after that, when we got home, it was a little uncomfortable.
It's a little uncomfortable. He exposed areas we just didn't talk about. We didn't. And it was a little embarrassing.
But to him, it was like... It was like the norm. Like, you're my husband. Well, you're my husband, and you should, instead of asking me, would you like me to discuss this in front of your husband? I think to him, his mindset is like, well, this is husband and wife.
This is human.
This is human, and we can talk about this. But it was really embarrassing and awkward for me because that's not something I talked to you about.
Yeah, it was a little different. We definitely... it's something we laugh about now.
Right, and this is how we came with these are the things you should not be doing in front of your spouse.
Yeah, so we came up with 3 things, and we'll elaborate what those are. And again, I mean, you may have your 3 different things. It may work for you, may not. Everything we say not to do, you're probably doing it, and you're much happier than we are in marriage. That's fine. What I'm saying is, if I do these things, I will not be happy in my marriage. And if she does these things, I will not be happy in my marriage. So to each his own. But this is our 3 reasons.
And I'm 100% on board with this because I would not be happy in my marriage if I saw you with your pants down in the toilet.
All right.
Well, it just wouldn't be my thing.
Let's go step by step where we're going.
Well, I'm just saying the whole constipation thing. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm with you.
All right.
Let's start.
Do you want to jump ahead again? Go ahead.
No.
Let's just go with number 1 and end the show.
Go.
Let's just do that.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. So let's go with number 3. Number 3, and this is not nothing to do with. It's more of a respect type of thing, right? The sly glancing.
The sly glance. Yeah, this is more of a respect thing. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so number 3 is sly glancing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you love your woman or man. You can't be looking at other people. Well,
I think if you're both on the same page to say it's okay, then that's one thing. But the sly glancing, thinking you're going to get away with it, is not okay.
Here's the thing. Like, I really put out an energy. Like, I am very intentional about putting out an energy that it's nothing but business. Like, in everything that I do. Right. Within the brokerage, within my clients, within everything that I do, it's this energy, like, don't ever even think I'm crossing the line and vice versa. Don't ever get comfortable thinking that, there's anything there because my bond is with you, right? And, do I do the glancing every once in a while? We're in public. I think I do, but it is like I try. I know how disrespectful it is. I mean, it's just we're just looking, whatever it may be. But I think that you just need to refocus on who you're with and what you're doing and what you're going about, not necessarily trying to check out somebody else. So
I think there's a glancing, and I don't know, maybe different levels of glancing. Staring, I would say staring. I think that we talked about that. Staring and glancing are 2 completely different things. But what irritates me, and I don't do it to you, and I feel the same way. When it's business is business, and don't ever cross that line with me. I think we pretty much have that respect, and everyone knows me. Like, don't cross that line with me.
I think, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Obviously, you're a very attractive woman, but everyone here within our brokers, within our clients, within the people, they know not even to even cross that line because you also put out this energy like, hey, this is all business, or this is just friendly. It's nothing beyond that. Right. So don't even think that this is a possibility for anything.
And I don't think I've ever come across that in these last couple of years of being in business that has ever. I felt uncomfortable in a situation where it makes me feel uncomfortable. No. But going back to the staring and the glancing, I think we came upon this because the norm is always like, I'm just going to glance. But what you're not realizing is the woman that you just glanced at looked at the fact that you glanced at her and you're right next to your significant other. That's the disrespect part. Glancing, I get it. I mean, obviously, you can't control and watch every single move. But the moment you glance at another woman and the woman actually sees that, you're just disrespecting your significant other, your spouse, your girlfriend, your wife that's right next to you, because the woman you're glancing at sees that you're glancing at her.
Yeah, and also your spouse sees that she's seeing you.
Right, or your spouse may not even see it, but that's the whole
and we
purpose.
Catch that. And we see this all the time too. I'll be at a different side of the grocery store or whatever, and then I'll see a man and his wife and his kids, just walking, and the man will like somehow find himself in the back of the family,
right?
And to be able to catch a look at you or somebody else, and it's
that's kind of where we got that, because we get that all the time where the husband and wife are just walking, or whatever maybe they're not married, maybe they're just together. I don't know. I'm just kind of going with spouse part of it, but they're walking, and the man will try to play it off to to stare, but it's not a stare, it's a glance. It's a quick glance.
I've caught a lot of guys.
Well, I've caught a lot of glancing, and I'm like, you're with your person, like that's so rude to me, and I'm watching it. Your other might not be seeing what you're doing, but I'm seeing it. I feel like tapping the lady on the shoulder and like, hey, this is what's going on over here.
There's some individuals that are so insecure that they allow it, right? Like that one time we were at the sporting goods store, and you mentioned this, like some guy with his family parks right next to you, and he makes this like sound,
right?
And he's right with his wife and his family, and he's staring at you, and he says something, and but you didn't take that. You actually confronted him.
Yeah.
You confronted him in front of his wife and his kids and saying, that's not right.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? And he felt this small, but in his life, it was okay to do it because his wife is so insecure, and she felt embarrassed, he felt embarrassed, and it's like,
yep.
But that's crossing lines that you got to stop.
Right.
It's real easy to think there's something.
I think it's real easy to get comfortable. It's just a simple glance. Mm-hmm. It's just a simple stare. It doesn't mean any harm. I get it, but I think it just, again, every relationship is different. But I've never saw that as being okay in my relationship.
Yeah. That's true.
So and again, we're human, so we catch ourselves glancing and staring like, oh shit. But then that's the whole part of it, is we catch ourselves and we know it's incorrect.
But with that, especially in a place of business, there's got to be that energy that you also have to put out there.
Yep.
That it's like, be taken serious. If you're in business, be taken serious. Not a lot of this giggling, a lot of
the giggling and the laughing and the cutesy and the flirting. Yeah.
If you're married, stay in that place. Like, give that energy back to your spouse. Make sure that the other person never thinks that there's ever a possibility.
Right.
Never. And that's part of your responsibility, to make sure you put that energy out there. So whether it's a glance or that energy, it is your responsibility. If you are in a committed relationship, stay in that place.
Right.
Like, stay in that place, and don't leave it up for grabs up there, because it could get uglier from that point. It can go down the slippery slope where, it can cause more damages and more consequences than we ever anticipated, just because we didn't put that as a parameter, as a line we just don't cross.
Yeah.
Now, it seems minimal, but it can equate to something big.
I'm glad you said that, because it seems so small, but it is. It's huge.
And it's like, everyone knows, and we work with a lot of, very, very attractive people. We work in this field, and, different people, women, men, and it's like there's always this energy of like, hey, we're here for common goals, nothing else beyond that. And it's that energy we put out there. So
love it.
Number 3, again, the sly glance or the energy. Number 2, now we're going to kind of get a little personal here, all right? Number 2, don't cross the line. And that, again, this is us.
What was that? Okay, I can't wait.
The bodily fluids.
Oh, yeah. This one's huge.
Gases and restroom.
Well, I got to talk in detail on this one. I've never come across that being like the thing people do. I thought it wasn't the thing people do, just because it's so gross. We just don't do it. So aside of my hospital incident, right, it was kind of embarrassing, and that's how we started this conversation. But aside of that, I remember being on the phone with somebody, and she's talking away, and then she tells me she's free to tell me I'm in the restroom, so I might mute you here and there. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I didn't really call her out on it. Like, why are you calling me while, you're going to wipe your, butt with your left hand or your right hand while you're holding a conversation with me?
But she's having a conversation, too, with somebody else.
But hold on, not yet. So she puts me on like, you can tell when she puts me on mute, I guess, because I feel like I'm talking to nobody. And then she comes back on. And in the middle of the conversation, she's still in the restroom. Somebody is talking to her. And I'm like, who's talking to you? I thought you were in the restroom. And she's like, oh, my husband just walked in and he's asking me, he's talking to me, carrying a full-blown conversation with her. So I'm like, wait a second. You're literally...
wallowing in her filth.
Yeah, you're sitting in her poop smell. Like, I don't know how you want to put it. And you're carrying a full-blown conversation. And I'm like, hey, let me call you later. Because at that point, I was disgusted by the situation. Because I'm like, I'm listening to you poop. He's listening to you poop and smell your poop. This is not okay. So I don't know where. And by the way, they're not together. Yeah. But there's so many things that I thought, like, is this normal?
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is, right?
And it's perfectly human.
Right.
But here's the thing, like there's a physical attraction, right? Well, and the last thing I want to do is like I'm
going to interrupt you because I asked a couple of people in regards to do they do it? And one said, very interesting, he says, kind of a double standard because I'm a man. I can toot, which, by the way, I call toot farting, but I can toot, I can poop with the door open, whatever. I'm a man. But if my woman does it, I'm like, I want to believe she doesn't do it. Yeah, I want to believe she doesn't poop, she doesn't toot, she doesn't do anything. So I asked another gentleman who's single. He said the same thing. He goes, you know what, Carla? I just want to believe women don't do that. Yeah, that's the only way I'm going to get through this.
Well, I go one step further. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that in front of you. It's just like, I want to feel desired all the time. And maybe it's just my own interpretation of, what it is or how gross I find it. But it's obviously human. However, I don't want to be in a place with you where we cross those lines where, we're talking to each other in the bathroom as he's using the bathroom, where I get to smell you and be in that whole situation. We're fortunate enough we have, several bathrooms in our house, like 5 of them. But it's like everybody has their designated spot.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody has a designated,
we all do.
We all have our spot.
Yeah, that's so funny, right? We just happen to fall into that. We have every place I know at the last home, we were there for, I don't know, 10 years. We had our designated spot. This home, same thing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we just don't tell each other. You just know that is my restroom.
That is my restroom.
Privacy. Don't go into that one.
Yeah, don't go into that one. Like, and there's something to be said about that because, when you're in those places where you're getting, down and dirty with each other.
Yeah, intimate, and there's things that you want to, do, and I
want to truly believe, like, you don't. Like,
yeah, you know what it means, slapping skins. Like, the last thing I want to be like, I saw you go to the bathroom 10 minutes ago, and last week, man, you had some fouls.
Yeah.
What did you eat last week?
Did you get upset?
All that chicken, did I cook chicken raw or something?
I don't want that. Yeah, so the number 2 again is like, just be more private. At least in our case.
Your spouse doesn't need to know everything from the inside.
I know. If you do this and you're sexually like there, where you're very attracted to your spouse, and like I'm so physically attracted to you, like that is the core of what we do, and I think it has to do because we've kept our privacy there. Right. We're not out there just passing gas as we walk by and we just don't do that.
Like deuce.
Yeah.
What up, Basie?
None of that, right? It's like, but there's a lot of physical attraction with that. So not seeing that part of you makes me more. It's kind of like when you meet somebody new,
right?
Right? You're physically attracted because there's certain things that they're keeping private from you,
right?
And I think that we can get comfortable, and we lose that luster for each other,
right?
Because we know so many of the other things.
Yep.
And it's like there's some things that should just remain private.
And again, if you do it, that's awesome. That's
if you do it, I want you to like tell me how it works for you.
Because maybe we should be leaving the door open. Maybe something will change.
I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps the romance.
I'm just saying, bro. Every once in a while, I want to leave the door open.
I can't see the benefits. Like I can't see the benefits of it. Like somebody tell me that I can tell you the benefits of not doing it. I can't see the benefits of doing it.
All right, so if you have that advice out there, the benefits of why you do it because you want to get closer to your spouse and they want to smell your stench, maybe share with us. We want to know.
Maybe there's a pheromone in that.
Right.
I don't know.
In the poop, yeah. Maybe that. You're right. Maybe there's a certain smell that
works for you.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to explore that.
Well, no.
You don't use the restroom as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, all right.
All right.
You do know I eat like 6 meals a day. I eat a lot of chicken and rice, right?
I don't even hear about
all
that.
right. Just letting
now
you know.
Now you're making my mind go somewhere else.
I'm not messing with you.
Do you want me not to be?
I'm not messing with. Okay, I don't even want to talk about that because I'm a little like uncomfortable even now talking about it. I know, I'm
staring at you right now. And I'm watching you. Stop right now.
All right, cool. We're
okay,
gonna move on.
The line.
What's the next one?
That's number 2. Okay, number one. I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here.
That's all right. This is between you and me.
Okay.
It's between me and you. Not everyone's gonna agree with this. This is me and you, bro. Me and you.
Okay.
This is our relationship. Everybody else, they either could agree or disagree. But this is our relationship.
To men, never, ever cross the line of watching birth.
Oh.
Damn, I'm going to ruffle some feathers.
You are.
Because I hear it all the time how beautiful it is.
You are.
A bonding moment.
All right.
I feel so connected.
I want you to know this is where this. Well, I love it, and this is the thing. I want to like talk about this subject. This one's huge. Everybody wants to see the life of their child coming out of Grand Canyon, and that's okay. That is okay. And again, I'm gonna piss some women off too, and that's all right. I don't mind. This is my life, my story, and I chose you not to watch the birth of my children.
I chose myself not to watch.
And I actually agreed. I was like, fist pump right there. I agreed, but I want to talk about this. You left me hanging, by the way. I want to talk about this. Sorry. I want to talk about this one. I've had somebody who had multiple children, and like I'm talking about 5+. And it's amazing to have that to big family. I just love it. I think it's really. So let me get on the subject. Hold on. Let me get on the subject. So I had asked a gentleman, I said, did you watch every single birth?
No. He told us how beautiful it was.
Well, hold on.
And encouraged me to do the same.
You need to calm down about this. Let me get to it.
I just want to make sure that the timeline is right.
Right.
And how it's communicated.
Because this was way before I had my first one. So you and I have had 2 kids. And the first one I had, I was talking to them and they were telling me, well, the best thing you can do for AZ is watch the birth of your child because a connection is so he had this whole, would you say?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Right.
It was a beautiful painting of why I should watch.
Right. So I'm in
awe. A baby coming out of your.
I'm in awe, right? I'm like, wow, that's amazing. He's like, oh, my children is different because I watched every single. Okay, so anyway, long story, rewind all that. So anyway, as I was getting further along in my pregnancy, I started to realize I don't even want to see how I give birth. I don't want. And I'm talking to a friend of mine and she says she put a mirror. She was able to see that. Oh, okay. And I'm like, this is disgusting. So I was able to watch a video of her giving birth, right? And I'm like, how is this even right? I don't want to see that. Literally, I don't want to see myself giving birth. My connection with my child will be completely different. So why would I want you to see that? That's just not right. So when the gentleman was telling me that, of course, they're divorced now. He was telling me later on, right, years went by, like, one thing that I wish I would have never done. I said, well, what's that? I watched the birth of my kids just because every time we were intimate, I just imagined that being like crying and so big and, open and a kid coming out and having a head.
I can only imagine it.
So the way he described it, I'm like, that must have been bothering him from like the first one because he described it to the T, right? Yeah. And I was like, wow. And I'm like, why wouldn't you be honest? And he's like, well, I was trying to connect with my wife. And I'm like, how many men go through that of like, oh, this is the most thing to do.
I'm going to tell you right now. Like, in my perspective, okay, we have a really good physical sexual relationship. And it's because there's certain things about it that I just didn't witness. And one of them was you opening up to deliver birth to a watermelon, right?
Right.
So it's like.
So this is, but I got to tell you, I know a lot of people disagree on this because, society thinks that you should watch your baby.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. Okay, I get it. But get this. This even gets here where society can come and really slap you in the face and take that, like, my husband doesn't love me mindset. So I remember the first time I went into contractions and I knew I was further along going to have the baby. My people were calling people. My family was coming to the hospital. My aunts, my uncles, Mom. My brother, everybody was there. And so people flew in to come see the birth of my child. Yeah. They wanted to videotape it. Thank goodness I didn't allow any cell phones. They were around my bed, and you were way behind me holding my hand.
What I was doing is like this. I was from your perspective. So I could only see your legs, like there, your knees. I could see the sheet, but I couldn't see in.
Right.
Everybody else was like this.
In front of the sheet.
And I'm like in an empire position right now.
right.
All right.
So,
Everyone else is like this.
Yeah. So hold on. So then everybody made me feel bad because, of course, I'm emotional and I have the epidural and I'm all over the right.
Oh,
so
yeah. They gave
were
me
like,
so much guilt.
Right. They were like, really? Like, you should be on this side. What? This is a beautiful thing. I'm like, no, I don't want it. And I was mad because I was hoping they weren't going to convince you to come around.
Oh, yeah.
So I was so angry at finally, I think I told somebody in the room,
leave, yeah.
everybody leave my room now. So
Yeah.
everybody ended up leaving because I was like, why would anyone want to watch? But I think, again, I'm not judging those because I think it's a beautiful thing.
No, you don't. You don't think it's beautiful.
No,
It's
no.
just
What
not
I'm
your
saying
thing.
is birth is a beautiful thing. I'm not saying that,
Oh,
but for
the
me,
miracle of birth is
right.
yes.
But for me, for people to watch that down there, it's not okay for me. That's my personal,
And I agree
the
with
bond
you.
with my child. And yes, you agree to this. So I'm glad we were on the same page with that.
Yeah, so I think this is all we're talking about is like how to stay physically connected. I mean, that's an important part of a relationship. Is feeling those, the attraction.
Right.
Right, the physical attraction. And I think we do a lot of things that erode that attraction without us knowing it. I could only imagine if I would have seen that every time we would, make love, have sex.
No,
whatever
and
it's
I gotta
called.
tell you,
it's like I would be thinking like, okay, am I doing anything
But this
for
is the
you? 'Cause
silliest.
I saw what came out. Am I doing like I'm a pretty confident man. Like I'm a confident man right here. But if I would have seen something like that, it would question my manhood a little bit, you know. And, but the reality is like that.
But I hooked it up. I was telling the doctor, put an extra couple stitches there.
Couple more stitches.
Hook that up. But I got to tell you what you just said. I thought about the same thing during my whole entire pregnancy that I was like, I want to make sure after I deliver, everything goes back in tip-top shape. I want to make sure I can still be that woman that he met, not thinking like he just saw me down there and gave birth like that. It's funny because we never shared these, we never shared these thoughts in our head. Yeah, we never shared them together. But it was funny, we were on the same page. I wanted everything was going to go back to normal, and it did.
Obviously, and again, it's just about what erodes that attraction. And we do things that erodes the attraction physically. We do things unknowingly that erodes the attraction mentally and emotionally. And what we're doing here is just like, what are some of the things that can help build on that? And, yes, may I have missed out on certain things? Yeah, but I don't think it would have really helped me in long term.
But you wouldn't have missed out on anything you don't know. So it's like, why would you even, if we're both, it's not missing out.
No, I don't want to smell you, and I don't want to see a baby coming out.
Yeah, that's not missing out. That's just, no, it's not. What are you missing out on? That's something we both.
We're going to ask the same question that we asked on the previous, the number 2, right? Number 2. Anyway, that's like, anyway. Is there benefits? Like, how has that helped you connect on a deeper level? Maybe there is a way. Just like we thought pheromones in poop would help. Maybe
the connection of watching
a birth. Tell me how that's positively impacted you, your relationship. Maybe it was good for the bonding with you and your kid, but how has that positively impacted your marriage? I'd like to hear it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe we're missing out.
Yeah, maybe that's what I said. Maybe we should start leaving the door open.
But there's a lot to say for the attraction that we have towards each other, the respect, where our marriage is at today, and it's because we avoided certain things.
Right.
We avoided crossing the line over certain things, and even the gentleman we were speaking of that was so pro. Witnessing all that, it really messed the attraction.
It did, and he didn't say anything until, like I said, years later after they got divorced, and we were in a conversation. It was just like, man, I wish I'd never saw this. But yeah, I mean, again, conversations don't pop up until later on. So I think it's interesting. I think it's a very interesting subject because it may be so small in a relationship, but it becomes big. It becomes big in those intimate moments, in those arguments. Becomes big.
How are we doing? Any comments or anybody that we need to speak on this? Oh, you don't even have it up.
We have one comment.
All right. Anyway, so those are the top 3 things, and we are live right now, and we'll be checking off here pretty soon. But again, if you haven't subscribed, rated, or reviewed our podcast, go to dothework.com. Please do so. And we also have brand new merchandise. So if you want a cool Do the Work hat, Do the Work shirts, then please feel free to go ahead and place that order, and we'll add some other additional stuff, no cost to you. But what do you think about today's subject? What are your thoughts on this? Let's see. This is hilarious. It happened to me with one of my children, emergency room and all.
Karen, I'm telling you, he was in pain. Or she was in pain. It's painful.
You were in pain.
It's a painful being in that situation is a painful situation.
It's more.
And I hope it never happens to you.
So anyway, thank you for joining us for another episode of Do the Work podcast. I hope you enjoyed this one. And again, these are just suggestions. And if we completely, if you disagree with us completely,
that's okay.
I want to know your side.
Yeah,
like
we
the benefits,
know. Good or bad.
benefits of
What's
looking
going
at
on?
other women or other men. The benefits of passing bodily gases, fluids, and going to the restroom in front of your spouse, and of course, witnessing birth. Tell me the benefits of this. If you do this now, and how it's helped you physically, sexually, and all other aspects of your relationship. But we want to hear about it. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Do the Work podcast. Until next time.